Oh, hey everyone. Welcome to another edition of Sid's Reviews. My name is Dale, and today I'm going to be reviewing this little guy here. This is the Topping L30 headphone slash preamp. Let's get into it. Okay, so the Topping L30 is one of the newest products in the Topping long list brands of headphone amps, and this one has almost the same form factor as my Topping E30 DAC, which I'll link to as a review here up here that I did a couple of months ago. Now, I decided to get a headphone amp because I'd never owned a dedicated headphone amp before, and I wanted to try it out. And since I saw a few good reviews on it and the price point was good on it, I decided to take a dip and to try it out, and I'm glad I did. This unit retails for $149 US, $199 in Canada, and for our friends over in the UK, it's 139 pounds. It has a 6.5 millimeter headphone jack. No other headphone jacks are in it, so it's not balanced or anything like that. It has 3 gain settings and just a power setting, so on off, and then also a setting there for the preamp, which I'll talk about later. Now, this is meant for a budget friendly option, as for a big brother or a little brother, I guess, to their flagship Topping A90 headphone amp, which is very well regarded in the hi-fi community. So what do you get for 199 Canadian dollars? Well, you get a pretty nicely built unit here, that's for sure. Very nice dials on it, nice switches. It is missing, obviously, the ballast input and a few other features of the A90, but what it really does well is it takes down that technology from the A90, which is that linear sound that everyone likes, and puts it into this. So other specs that are included with the A90, it has total harmonic distortion of 0.00007, which is really low. It's 3.5 watts max power, so it could drive pretty much any headphone out there, whether it be, open back, closed back, IEMs, any planar magnetic headphones. So it could pretty much drive any headphone, and I tested quite a few of them. It also has a preamp mode, which I'll talk about later into it. And but right now, let me show you the front and back of the unit with all the features, and then I'll get to how it sounds. Okay, so let me show you the front here of the Topping L30 headphone amp. There's a couple of toggle switches here. So the first one here, this one's it's 3 position, off position, on position for a headphone amp. And then the top position is out to the preamp. So you could hook it up to either a power amplifier or powered monitored speakers. On this side here, you have the input gains. So in the middle, it's right flat at 0 dB. And this is minus 6 dB. And then also plus 6 dB in here. So this thing really has the power to drive pretty much any headphone that you could throw at it. Here's the indicator here, the power indicator. Right here's the headphone jack, so it's only a 6.5 millimeter headphone jack, but it does come with a 3.5 millimeter adapter with it. And here's the power knob to it. Really nice feel too with the power knob, and has a little white indicator here to see where you're at, and it's also accented here by a nice metal ring to it. So overall, very nice front unit. Now we're going to check out the back. Okay, this is the back here of the Topping L30 headphone amp. So as you can see, very simple, just one RCA input here, so that your source goes into here. Output here, in case you want to use it as a preamp or to your powered speakers, and the 15 volt AC input jack for the power. And that connects to a pretty beefy transformer as well, which obviously I already showed you there in the unboxing video. So that's it. Now let's get back to the review. Okay, before I get into the sound of this unit, before I purchased this, I visited the website, the Audio Science Review website, just to take a look to see, how they measured this thing, because even though I don't really put that much consideration into the measurements of something according to how it sounds, I do like to, take something like this and just see how it stacks up versus the other headphone amplifiers out there. Well, if you haven't already, go take a look at it. Go punch in Topping L30 on Audio Science Review. You'll see that it is the best measured headphone amplifier that they have on their website right now. It even beats out the Topping A90, which was the new champion of headphone amplifiers not that long ago. So if it measures better than the Topping A90, which is, I believe, $600 US, and this thing's only $149 US, you're getting something that has really good value and definitely good for the money and great sounding as well. So take that with a grain of salt, but really it all comes down to the sound, doesn't it? I tested a bunch of headphones on it from my IEMs. I just got some Philips open back headphones, which I'll be reviewing later. And I also had my Koss KPH30Is, which I put on, and then I also have some older Sennheiser headphones that I put on that never sounded good in anything that I put it in until I put it in this Topping L30. Then it sounded pretty decent, actually. So I would say the sound on this is, as they say, it is very, very linear. So what that means for people who may be just getting into this hobby is linear means that everything's just kind of flat. So whatever source you have, the sound coming in is what this thing kind of spits out. There's no coloration to the sound. It won't bump up the treble or the bass or the mid-range or anything like that. It just kind of puts it in and then spits it out. So the coloration then would all come from, or taste and soundstage, I guess, or sound coloration would all come from depending on what type of headphone you have. So whether you have, IEMs or closed back headphones or open back headphones or Plagner magnetic headphones, those things determine, what kind of sound you're getting in. This thing just kind of brings it in and spits it out, and that's about the best way to describe this thing. The gain settings on this are very good as well. I usually kept mine probably in the middle to high. The low ones you could get away with IEMs because they're pretty sensitive and they're right in your ears here, so I'd suggest to start on that, especially with IEMs. But yeah, I mean, what can you say about the sound on this thing? It is unbelievable. Like it's all that is advertised and all that the other kind of reviewers said it was. You don't have to pay that much money to get a very linear experience with your headphone listening with this unit anyway. Okay, so I'll go through kind of briefly all the headphones that I used with this unit because I think it's important to let you know kind of what I was hearing, I guess, for that. So a lot of the time I spent with my Koss KPH30Is, which I'm going to be doing a couple of reviews on those things. That's coming up as well. But as you know, those headphones, if you even look on Z Reviews, I mean, he swears by these phones as, very excellent value headphones at only like $30 or $50 Canadian or what have you. And through this thing, I mean, it just had a different, than directly hooking it up to my phone, hooking it up through this thing. It just, everything kind of opened up. It tightened up the bass. The treble was just nice and crisp. Mid-range was just a little bit forward, but very clear for it. It just sounded amazing. I love the KPH30Is through anything I put it in, but through this headphone app, it really came out, and I really enjoyed it through that. Every headphone that I put in, I really enjoyed coming through this thing. Even these old Sennheisers, I have an old pair of Sennheisers SD458 or something like that. I'll link the specs up there. Anyway, I don't think they sell this headphone anymore. It's about 10 or 12 years old, and it's a closed back headphone, and I bought it as a birthday gift for my wife a long time ago. And coming out through it, I never could find anything that could really drive them with the, when you put on your phone, you have to almost crank it up to really get anything. Even hooking it up through my Iota VX, it does have a headphone amp on that. They just didn't sound good until I put it inside here. Then I could click up the gain on it, and it really started to open up those headphones. And even though they are not great sounding headphones as it is, but it did open it up, so at least it was kind of an enjoyable listen, and pretty much it was all thanks to this linear Topping L30. The other ones I have are the Philips 9600. Those are the new open back ones that they have. I'll be doing a review on that. But like again, for open back headphones, the soundstage came out. Everything was more airy, more open, which is, I believe, the signature of that. I'll be speaking more directly about that in a review of them. But it was a really good listening experience as well, and enjoyed that through this amp. And then I had a couple of IEMs, Klipsch and Sennheiser IEMs that I put in there. And again, very enjoyable. You don't even need it on medium or high gain, low gain. And this thing had plenty of power into those. Gave me a very punchy, dynamic experience with it, and those sounded really good as well. Okay, so like I said, something that I didn't think I would use too much in a headphone amp was, I thought it was just a throw-in as the preamp. Now, as you guys know, I tried the preamp on the DAC, the Topping E30 DAC, and as I said in the review, the preamp in there was like a complete afterthought. I didn't, it functioned, but it didn't add anything. I think it made the sound worse. It was just kind of a mess, and you could tell it was kind of a throw-in, and they didn't really put enough thought and good software or parts into it to make it sound very good. Not in this. This is a totally different animal. I'm not sure what they did, or if they took the same technology that maybe they put in the A90 and just brought the preamp down, technology down into this. But it is fantastic, let me tell you. Whether you're using it for a desktop to power your monitor, your powered monitors, or if you hook up directly to a power amp and just use it through your 2-channel stereo system. This thing, let me tell you, sounds great. I would even say, and it's close, but I think the preamp section in this unit here sounds better than the preamp section in my Iota VX. I know that sounds crazy, but let me tell you, I was A/B kind of testing as fast as I could kind of between the two, and I think I preferred the sound out of this thing, out of the preamp, going into my amps in the Iota VX and then through my triangle speakers, rather than going straight through my Iota VX, and so the SA3 into the PA3s. Anyway, this thing's a great preamp. In fact, if Topping made a dedicated preamp that was affordable, now I know they have one on there, and I took a look at it, and it's like, I don't know, 500 or 600 bucks or something like that. And I know it has, balanced inputs and stuff, and it's meant more of a higher end product. But if they did the same thing as what they did with the A90, so they took that headphone amp and kind of put it into this little guy, if they did that with their preamp and then put it into a smaller form factor on here, that would be a huge winner, I think. So what that would mean, though, is it would need a remote, and then maybe a couple more inputs on here. So 2 or 3 inputs, a remote, and then just preamp only. That would be a winner if they use the same tech into this preamp as they did. But yeah, one thing that really surprised me, the preamp in this thing is very good. Okay, let's keep this short for pros and cons. So the pros in this, like I said, this is a great linear sound. So very clean, very crisp, comes in, comes out, lets the headphones that you use decide, what sound it is, and just kind of, that's all it is to it. So it's very clean, very nice form factor to it. I like, it's very well built into it. It's very simple to use. It's a very nice partner, especially with the Topping E30 DAC. You stack them on top, perfect form factor of it. And of course the preamp, like I said, it sounds great, the preamp. That's almost worth the price of admission. Cons to it, keep this short. There's no ballast inputs of it. For this price point, I don't think you would expect that. No balanced inputs. Only one headphone input, so it's just 6.5 millimeter. It does come with the 3.5 millimeter adapter, so of course I use that, but there's no balanced input anywhere, so or no 2.5 millimeter either. And then the other thing is it does get warm. I did notice that on top when I had it powered up and kept it on for about an hour or two. Got a little warm up here. Not hot, but definitely warm. And also the transformer is pretty bulky as well, and that got pretty warm as well. So I don't know if it's a real con, but just something, I guess, to keep in mind. And now let's get to my final thoughts. Okay, so my final thoughts on the Topping L30 is this. for $150 US, if you're into headphone listening at all, or is curious about, well, you know, is it really for me, or what should I get, or something like this, endgame right here. Start with this. This thing is great. For $150, you get a great headphone amp. It could drive anything. It has the preamp option on it, which is unbelievable. This headphone amp is an absolute no-brainer. And for me, a person who was, you know, just thinking about getting into the headphone game, this thing isn't going anywhere. I'm keeping this. This is what I'm going to use now to test more headphones and use it in my preamp if I want to. This thing is great. Can't recommend it anymore. This is highly recommended. So that's it. What do you guys think of the review? I know this is a very positive review, but hey, when you have something this good, I want to tell everybody about it. And hopefully, if you guys want to purchase this, I'll put some links down below to get into it. And as usual, leave all your questions and comments below. I try and answer everything as best I can. And I'm going to have some more reviews coming up of some headphones and other things. Until next time, keep on listening to headphones.